Hello, welcome. My name's Mark Abadi, and this is Mark's Minute on Destiny and Karma. Ooh, destiny. Oh, it's my karma. Yeah, this thing's happening just because my karma. He's had bad karma. Bad karma. So, let's look at this. Mark as an individual. I have an opinion. I have a choice, right? I can choose to go or not. The fact that I chose to go or not, that seems to be my choice, right? Okay. So let's see, where did my choice come from? My choice came from my environment, where I was born. You know, what culture I was born into, what time of year, what financial situation was, what the temperature was, what the language was. All these aspects, who my parents were, all these aspects, how many brothers I have, all these aspects lead me to becoming me. Okay, now what else is there? What else do we know that there is? Okay, let's talk about what we know. Because I know people like to entertain this fantasy that before we're born, we're sitting up in some waiting room, chatting to God, and watching a video screen of our lives. I mean, have I heard this concept? Watching a video screen of our lives, and I said, this person who was telling me this, I said, well, how old are we watching this? And she said, 33. I said, 33? Where'd you get that number from? She goes, that's just what age you are. Oh my God. So, this concept is that we're up in wherever, the etheric world, watching the physical world, actually choosing, okay, that's where I'm going, and that's where I'm going. Other people think that there is some sort of karmic cycle whereby you elevate yourself, you're continuously elevating yourself consciously, and that your soul is eternal. Both these concepts there's absolutely no evidence for. There's no reason we should believe them. And they are mere fantasies that people who are scared of the nothingness make up. Again, it's another way of anthropomorphizing God. Anthropomorphizing, for those of you who don't know, is bringing human qualities to something that doesn't have human qualities. And for more information on this, look at my God, my Mark's Minute on God. So, most people bring an anthropomorphic understanding to what's not there afterwards. Okay. And this is because they're afraid. They're afraid that they don't know. And because they don't know, they invent these stories. Oh yes, there's this, we're watching this. Anyway, what do we know? What do we know? Well, ultimately we know nothing, but what do we seem to know? We seem to know that we have our genetic influence, what my genes were. I have genetic prone, my DNA, my RNA, all the different structures which inform what Mark becomes, what his head looks like. How come Mark looks just like his dad, you know, and he's got just as much hair. Thanks, Dad. How come Mark has that? Because of the genetic structure. Okay. Then the environment puts on top. Why has Mark got this accent? Why has Mark still got all his 5 fingers? Because he wasn't working in a mine and got them chopped off because his parents were born in England and they lived in England. Neither of them were born in England, but they lived in England and they raised him and blah, blah, blah. The point is, everything you are comes from your environment and your genes. Okay? Fine. Now the question is, when did you have your first thought? When did you have your first thought? Okay, some people argue about this. Some people say 3 months old. Some people say 1 day old. Some people say in the womb. Okay, let's give it. It doesn't really matter to me. I don't care about the debate. That's not the point. Let's say it's 1 week after conception. Okay, that's pretty early. This is hardly a developed anything. You know, 1 week after conception. Let's say that, just for the benefit of doubt, to quieten down all you little, oh yes, the thoughts happen. It doesn't matter. That's not the point. So let's say 1 week after you have your first thought. Your thought is, whatever. I mean, what is this? Where am I? That's your first thought. Where am I? Okay? Whatever your first thought is. Again, doesn't matter. The point is, what led to your first thought? Okay. What are the things that we know? What led to your first thought? First, you had your genetic structure. Then on top of that, you had your environmental influences. Now, 1 week after conception, your environmental influences are very minor, but they're still the material you find yourself in, the health of your mother, the energy field of your mother, the magnetic field of your mother, the electrical field of your mother, and other fields around her, the state of the stars, you know, the amount of neutrinos passing through your body at that time. You know, all these things contribute to your first thought. Now, here's the point. All these things that contribute to your first thought, are they you? Are they yours? Huh? Did you choose them? As far as we know, you had no choice over them whatsoever. You just are the happening, the reaction. Two things came together, they reacted, they created you. Now let's fast forward a bit, on. Let's say we get to 1 week old. Yeah? You're born 1 week after birth. And you're looking around and you decide to cry or not. Okay, what determines that decision? What determines it is everything that's ever come before leading up to that point. Now let's fast forward again. You're 5. You decide to say, I don't want to go to the park. What determines that decision you're making? What I'm suggesting is what determines it is a combination of a billion bits of environmental information, none of which you chose, plus a billion bits of genetic information, none of which you chose. So the two things that aren't you created you. So two things that aren't you created you and your unique opinion and your decision, what you wanted to do. So these two things, the genes and the environment, very complex. They form together to create your first thought, which created your next thought and your next thought and your next thought. Thus, how can two things that are not you form you? How can you emerge through self-control from two things that aren't you? Because two things have created, you are a mere reaction. I am a reaction. The fact that I was putting my hands on my head right then, that was always going to happen because everything in the universe has added together, accumulated together, continuously unfolded to make you right now. Everything you are, watching this film. Everything in the universe made you watch this film. There's nothing else you could ever have done. It's as simple as that. You can't escape destiny. You can't escape the reaction. Imagine this. So if I don't decide my feelings, my thoughts, then even this was always going to happen, and it was a mere reaction from the billion things that's ever happened to me to this moment right now. Every single thing in the universe, known and unknown, accumulated together to create this now. That means everything that happens was supposed to happen. That means, unfortunately, even the bad things that happen were supposed to happen. There was no choice in them. They were always going to happen. You know, people sit there and they go, oh, it wasn't supposed to be like that. It wasn't supposed to happen. Well, if it wasn't supposed to happen, let me ask you this. How did it happen? Oh, it was a mistake. The universe and God does not make a mistake. It just happens, it unfolds. For more on my perceptions of God, look at God and Judgment, Mark's Minutes. I don't perceive God as a conscious being. I don't anthropomorphize God. I'm not that arrogant to believe I know what God wants, or that God even has human characteristics. The point is, you are a reaction. As a result, everything that's unfolding happened exactly as it was supposed to. Everything you can do now, you can't escape it. You can't swim out of the lake. You can't think your way out of thinking. It's not possible. Or is it? Plato's cave, Plato's allegory of the cave, check that out. Basically, Plato said you can't know what you don't know. But you can. Check out my talk on enlightenment and self-realization. Thanks for joining me. See you soon.